How y'all doing, YouTube? My name is Lexi. Recently, because I am actually a New York native. I was born in New York, in Brooklyn, raised in Brooklyn my entire life, and I'm 25 years old, about to be 26, so I'm gonna just say I lived in New York for 26 years, because that's basically what it was. And I got tired of it. I mean, we all get tired of places that we're used to. What was the deal breaker for me was the rent. So apparently during the pandemic, there has been like a little rent decrease for certain people because of the quarantine type of business. So you were allowed to stay in a 3-bedroom apartment with just one other roommate, or even by yourself if you was able to afford it. They allowed you to stay in, the 3-bedroom unit. And maybe this just refers to my apartment, but I'm hearing this happen to quite a few people. I was in a 3-bedroom apartment. I actually had 2 roommates, not in the same apartment. I lived in a 3-bedroom on the 3rd floor. If you guys kept up with me before, you know what happened in that situation. That girl was a thief and she stole from me. So I ended up moving to the 4th floor and I found a whole new roommate. It was just me and her. She was amazing. We lived together for 10 months. That apartment was $2,500 at the time for just me and her. 3-bedroom, 2 full bath in New York? Honey, I thought it was too good to be true. And I lived in Harlem. That's like at the top of the city. So I was still in Manhattan. Granted, I lived across the street from the projects. There was crackheads on the right side, prostitutes on the left. It is what it is. It's life. It's New York. You know what I'm saying? You got the cops right there posted on the corner at 24/7. It is what it is. I lived in the hood, like the hood, but my apartment was very nice. I wish I had if you follow me on TikTok, you could see a little glimpse of how my apartment looked. It wasn't a luxury apartment. The laundry unit, we had a laundry unit downstairs. It was not in the apartment because New York don't do that. It wasn't like a huge apartment with like 30 floors and like 10 apartments on each floor. It was very secluded and, I got my peace and quiet for the most part, but at the end of the day, it's still New York City. Originally, I had plans on moving to Atlanta. And this was my plan for like the past 3 to 4 years, because I've been to Atlanta a number of times because that's how I met my boyfriend. I actually really liked Atlanta, but there was a few things that started to turn me off after a while, which was how expensive it started to get because everybody and their mother want to move there now. So now it's literally the same price to live over there as it is in New York. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense to me because technically I would be having to spend more money in Atlanta because I would need a car. And in New York, you don't need a car. So it didn't make sense for me to move to Atlanta because it's like what I'm avoiding or what I'm running away from is those crazy rent prices. Now, y'all probably gonna be like, oh, $2,500 is not even that bad. What you complaining about? Like, it's New York. So my landlord gonna hit me on some bullshit. He literally emailed me one morning and my lease was supposed to end August 31st, 2022. Sorry, this is 2022. My lease was supposed to end August 31st, 2022. 30 days before, sometime in July 20-something, he emails me like, yeah, okay, so for the new lease, it's going to be $3,700. So my rent jumped from $2,500 to $3,700. And I'm like, what? And then he's like, okay, because the pandemic is over, now prices are back to normal. And I'm like, oh, so this is what people was talking about when they said living in New York was expensive. Okay, all right. Never was I ever paying over $1,800 to live with someone. Like, are you crazy? Like, so he hit me with that. And then, mind you, it was a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath. So you guys are probably wondering, why do you need a 3-bedroom when it's only 2 of y'all? I'm a full-time nail tech. Been a nail tech for 3 years. If y'all want to know my nail technician Instagram and see my work, it's gonna be right here. I gotta tag it. I represent my business. I am my business. My old roommate and I, we came into agreement that I can use, well, not me, was supposed to be the both of us, but she didn't use it as much as I did because that's what I did downstairs with the thief. So we did the same thing upstairs. I used that 3rd room to work, to make the rent. And it worked for a very long time. For the full 10 months, I was able to pay the rent on time every single month. So what he wanted me to do was find a 3rd person to fill that room. So I'm like, okay, so then that eliminates my source of income. Granted, I still had a little part-time job with Instacart. I did the Instacart in-store shopper. Let me know if you guys want me to do a video or a review on that, because it is one of the best jobs I've ever had in my life. Because my room had the bathroom, I was gonna be paying $13.50 now instead of the $12.50 to live with 2 other people, which was just not happening. Another reason why I left, I wanted to expand my business. I'm a nail technician, as I said. I wanted to expand my business. I've done nails in New York for 3 years, and I've built a great clientele, which I love dearly, and I'm not leaving them forever because I'm gonna go back and visit New York again. Just to do nails though, I've built up about 400 clients in New York. I feel like I could build clientele elsewhere. Like, why not? You get what I'm saying? So it's like, that was another part. That wasn't the whole reason, but it was another reason why I decided to up and leave. Another reason why I decided to go, the people. The people in New York are disgusting. And there's too many people. Everybody lives on top of each other. It's way too many people. It's way too expensive. I got really turned off from driving. I did not want to drive in New York. Why? Because the insurance is crazy. The monthly payments are crazy. The requirements are crazy. They expect you to have an 800 credit score to lease a car. So I wrote down a little list to talk about Houston because I decided to actually up and leave and go to Houston, and I'm gonna explain to you why. Okay, so let's get into the reason why I chose Houston. Like I said, I had over 400 clients in New York, so obviously you got a few of them that's from Texas, even born and raised in Texas, and decided to move to New York. They told me from that experience that Houston would have probably been the best choice for me. Why? Because I was born and raised in a city-like urban area. Granted, I do want to be one with nature. Like, I really want to be around trees and grass and more animals and more, you know, I like the city, but it's what I've been used to my entire life. So I do want to change an environment, but I don't want to completely escape the city. So I'm like, okay, that's great. So that was one really big reason why. Another reason is I did not like the people. People in New York mind their business. Let's just keep it real. I've been in New York for 25 years, so I know the people in New York. They mind their business. Like, somebody could be dying right there in the street. Ain't nobody gonna help. Nobody not even gonna call the cops. Like, at least call the cops. Like, you don't even have to involve yourself, but at least call 911. Nobody's gonna help. Nobody cares. Everybody is about themselves. Is one man for themselves. Like, everybody is strictly, I care about what I have to do. I could give a fuck about what you're doing, what you got going on. If you're in my way, move. Like, that's just the mentality of a New Yorker. And I ain't gonna lie, they raised me to be that way too. Like, I literally developed a mean mug. I literally developed a mean mug naturally because that's what causes people to leave you alone. If you are from New York, you would know what I'm talking about. I wanted a more friendlier environment, and granted, Houston is still a city-like area and people still mind their business out here. But at the end of the day, it's Texas. It's Southern hospitality. I only been here for a week. Correct me if I'm wrong, but everyone tells me the same thing. Southern hospitality will always be there. I've experienced it because I walked outside, and I'm gonna get into the walking thing because that's a whole nother story. I walked outside to go to the grocery store because there's a plaza across the street from me and there's a plaza around the corner from me. So I went to the plaza to see what's going on, and I'm walking, minding my business, and some random person just says, "Hi, how you doing?" Like, as I'm walking past them, and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? I mean, hi? Hi? It felt good. It felt refreshing, but like, I'm not used to that. Like, nobody says hi. Nobody says good morning in New York. Like, honestly, that's one thing that really bugged the fuck out of me. Saying good morning is not a thing. Like, it's what I need from you. I need to get what I need from you, and you're done after that. Like, I don't care about good morning, how you doing, none of that. And granted, I've only been here for a week, so I can't even say anything about Texas yet. I can't even really give you my full, honest opinion about Texas yet. But what I can talk about is my experience so far. Once I start going to more events and more social events and more Black businesses events, because I have a gala that I'm going to in December, I'm gonna update you guys on how the people are and the experience with the people. Another difference is the area. The way Houston is built, the way Texas is built, honestly, it's definitely not built like New York. It's not very walkable out here. That's one thing. If you are from New York and you're considering moving out here, in New York, you could just walk down wherever. Every single street in New York is walkable. There's literally no streets in New York that you can't walk down. Like, but here you have walkable streets. I'm not gonna sit there and take that away from Houston. If you go in the dead center of Houston, as in the inner circle, because it's 3 big circles. It's the inner circle, there's the second circle around that, and there's the big one that's not really completed yet. So if you was to be into the inner circle in the city area, it's very walkable over there. I have not been there yet. I've seen videos, I've seen people who've been there, I've seen how the streets look, and it's very walkable out there. But once you get into the outskirts, girl, it don't matter how many stores is around you, girl. I have a Target, a Burlington, a Michael's, a AT&T, I have a nail salon, I even have an eye doctor across the street from me. I have everything you could think of. Like, I don't even have to leave my area. I don't have to leave my zip code. I have everything accessible to me across the street. It's not that it's not accessible, it's just not walkable. So it's like the fact that it's across the street and I still have to drive there, like I could literally look at Target from outside my window. Like, that's how close it is. Like, there's a grocery store across the street, there's a bunch of restaurants across the street, there's a huge plaza across the street, but that street is not crossable. Girl, when I tell you I almost got hit the other day, like, don't try to walk out here. Like, it's not recommended. Like, that's probably one of my biggest cons about Houston. Do not walk out here, bro. Like, just don't. Only if you're within the inner city, but on the outskirts, do not even try. Just get a cab. And it's sad that I do have to get a cab to go across the street for $5. I really do have to get a cab to just drive me across the street because I cannot cross that street. It's a crosswalk. There's a crosswalk for pedestrians, but they literally give you 3.5 seconds. And I'm not exaggerating. You press the button, the light for you to walk will go green. You can literally count to 3 and it goes red again. And it's like, bro, what's the point? Like, why do you even put it there if you don't even give me enough time to cross that big ass street? I literally have to like zoom across the street before I get hit because the drivers, don't even get me started on the drivers. Like, it's as if I don't have the right to cross the street. Like, literally, that's how they make you feel, as if you don't have any right to cross the street. What are you doing? Why are you crossing the street? Like, you're walking, you're fucking crazy. Like, they literally make you feel like a foreigner for just using your 10 toes, bro. Like, gladly though, there's a plaza around the corner that doesn't require me to cross any streets. So I go to that plaza sometimes to get a few things. It is what it is. It's a small grocery store I'm not really a fan of. It has a very strong smell. I don't want to get into details. It has a fire Italian spot. When I tell you, oh my God. They have a Dominican spot. I did not try that yet. And they also have a nail salon around the corner. So few things are accessible because, again, I don't have a car. I don't drive as yet. But I moved here because I wanted the motivation to drive. New York did not give me any motivation to drive, bro. Why? Because I saw what my boyfriend went through. My boyfriend went through hell and back trying to get a car in New York, bro. And it was just a disaster. It did not work out. He got the car, but after the car, it literally was a disaster. The fees and the bills and everything at the end of the day was costing more than the money he was making with the car. And I'm just like, bro, I'm not motivated to drive in New York. I never was. But I want to be a driver. I want to drive. And it's like, if I stayed in New York, I never would drive. Bro. I would literally go within my 30s and 40s and never drive a car. And I didn't like that. It made me feel uncomfortable. It just didn't add up as far as driving when it came to New York City. So I came out here because I wanted to force myself to drive. And that's literally what's happening because I tried to walk across the street and girl, I need a car. Like, I need a car. But I've survived a good strong week here. I've been Instacarting everything. I've been ordering everything. I have a studio that I'm going to start working in at the end of this week on the 16th. That's when I'm going to start taking clients, my nail clients and stuff like that. So if you are in Houston, don't forget to book, okay? Because, girl, I can't wait to meet y'all. I can say that's the biggest difference I see so far. I can't really speak on anything else because, again, I've only been here for a week and I'm going to be doing monthly updates to let you guys know what's going on. Finding a job, okay. Granted, I'm a nail technician, a full-time nail technician, but you can't really rely on clients for income because there'll be weeks where I don't get any clients. Granted, it's not very often, probably 2 weeks out of the entire year where I don't have clients at all, but there's like a good 3 to 4 weeks where I may only have one client for the week and that's not enough money for me for the week. So I like to keep a job just to keep myself busy when I don't have clients. I heard the job market out here is great. I'm still debating on what I want to do. Either a at-home remote job for customer service. I don't mind being a customer service representative. There are a few websites that I'm going to apply for that I heard was really good out here in Texas. So I'm going to do that tomorrow and update you guys on the results that I get. Another option I have is to be a flight attendant. Now, flight attendants out here make bank, okay? And you don't need no college degree. You literally could be fresh out of high school, and it's like a 2-month program. I think 1 to 2 month program to train to be a flight attendant. And honestly, every day I'm shifting towards applying. So again, I'm gonna update you guys. Those are my 2 options, the customer service representative or the flight attendant. So I'm gonna update you guys in maybe a month or so to see how my clientele is, because I didn't get any clients yet. That's one thing that I also noticed is very hard to get clients out here, but I do need to attend events. I need to go out. I need to see people. I need to meet people. So I'm gonna do that, and hopefully things play out in my favor. But we just gonna see how everything plays out. Honestly, I'm really freestyling it at this point. And the last 2 things I'm gonna talk about is weather and the cost of living. So weather out here so far has been amazing. I heard the weather out here was shitty. This is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the weather was bad. I heard there was really bad floods. Fortunately, I am in a flood-free zone. So the area that I'm in, I'm not about to put my area on YouTube, I'm sorry, but the area that I'm in doesn't get flooded. But there are a lot of areas in Houston that gets flooded. Granted, I didn't have an issue with that because New York gets flooded too. Girl, don't get me started on New York. Oh my God, you got people, last year there was people in the Bronx on jet skis, excuse me? And there's an underground train system, so the trains was just out of service. It was just non-accessible. It was a disaster. Because New York is so dirty, the water was brown, and I can't. I was like, okay, all right, if it happens, whatever. I'm not moving to another state to solve all of my problems, bro. I'm moving to another state for a different environment. I understand that every single state has their issues, bro. There is no perfect state. There's no perfect location. America in itself is a huge problem. So as long as I'm here, I'm gonna have to deal with certain shit. Honestly, all I'm asking for is my space. I don't like how crowded New York is. I don't like how many people there are. I just need my space. And that's exactly what I'm getting. So far, I've been here for 8 days, and 6 out of the 8 days it's been sunny, 80 degrees. It's been beautiful. Then again, it is October. So technically it's fall time right now. I haven't experienced summer. I heard summer was terrible. I heard summer gets super hot. In New York, the summer that just passed, it has gone over 100 degrees. It hasn't touched 110. We've had heat waves. I know what the heat feels like. And because New York is so crowded and there's a bunch of metal around you, not really that many trees, it feels like 110 degrees, if that makes sense. So it's like, I'm like, okay, if that's how hot it gets out here, as long as I have space, I'll deal with it. Like, if I have space here, then fine. Because in New York, you ain't getting no space. As soon as you walk outside, you're around a bunch of people. Imagine it being hot and having to walk around a bunch of it. The combination just didn't do it for me. I'm hearing, there's also really bad storms. Again, I'll deal with it. I've dealt with snowstorms, thunderstorms, floods. I'll deal with it. I'm not running away from those issues. I just wanted space, bro, honestly. So the cost, one thing I could say, it's definitely cheaper. That's one thing I cannot deny. Because like I said, my old apartment is $3,700 for a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath. In this apartment, I have the same thing, a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath, and I'm only paying $2,000 a month. I am going to be living with my boyfriend. My boyfriend is going to be coming in December, and we're sharing the master bedroom, and we're each going to have our own offices. So we're paying $2,000. One thing I could say though, the electricity is pretty high over here. The electricity is not like New York where you go based off of how much electricity you use. Here, most electricity companies go based off of a flat rate. So we unfortunately pay $165 a month for electricity, but we can use as much electricity as we want, which is the benefit. So I don't have to worry about turning off lights. I don't have to worry about nothing because it's a flat rate. It's not gonna go up, it's not gonna go down. So, but in New York, you could save money by turning off lights and turning off all types of stuff with Con Ed. Here, not so much. Granted, there are companies that are not flat rate, to where they only charge you by how much you use. And we didn't choose that because from word of mouth, they're telling us that companies like that are very unreliable when there are really bad storms or power outages. So we decided to go with the best of the best. We're just gonna pay the $165 a month, and it is what it is. That's the priciest bill that we have. The electricity, expect to pay a lot for that, but the rent is so cheap that the electricity really doesn't matter, because it's like a substitution. Like, because the rent is so cheap, the electricity can be expensive, because regardless, it's like, just because the electricity in New York is not that bad, the rent is crazy. So it's like you end up paying, you know what I'm saying? I'm still paying less to live here, regardless of the electricity being so high. I do pay for water, which is like, what? I don't even live in a house. Like, that blew my mind. I'm not gonna lie to you, that was a big con for me, because it's like, there's a built-in washing machine and dryer here. There's also a dishwasher here. There's a lot of things that use a lot of water, so for me to pay for water is like, it is an apartment complex, so I'm not used to that. I just thought that, you know, if you're in a house that you pay for water, but apparently out here you pay for water as well. So that's another bill. But the water out here is very cheap. Like, it's anywhere from like $30 to $50 if you use it on a regular basis. So the cost in general, honestly, like, I'm paying, minus the studio, I'm gonna say about $1,100 to $1,200. So honestly, if you see my apartment and see the stuff and the amenities that I get with it, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's worth it. Because I technically live in a luxury apartment, technically. I don't know, because people are telling me that, oh, the apartment I live in is very nice, and that's not the average cost of living in Texas. Like, I can get a way better deal because, yeah, I chose to live in a luxury apartment. I mean, shit. I don't see the issue with that, because I was so used to New York prices that, you know, I wanted more for my buck. I wanted more for what I was paying, and I knew that I could afford this place. So I was like, okay, let me, you know, let me be a bad bitch for like, you know, a year or two or whatever, because I did not get that shit in New York. Like, the cost of living in a luxury apartment can range you anywhere from $1,200 to $1,400 a month, because that's how much the one bedrooms are over here as well, about 12 to 13. So even if you was living by yourself, that's how much that you was gonna spend. But if you was to live in a regular apartment that's not really considered luxury, you can literally have rent as low as $700 to $800 just by yourself, just a one bedroom apartment, which is like crazy reasonable. Like, I couldn't believe it. But basically, yeah, cost is not that bad. I can't really say much again about Houston, but so far, if I had to give it a rating, I would give it an 8 out of 10. My rating for New York is about a 5. So right now we're on the right track. You know what I'm saying? I'm aiming for at least once a month to update you guys, because yeah, I had to make this move. I had to, bro. There was no way. Like, it was absolutely no way. So it's like, I understand the issues that I'm facing here. There are issues here. There's issues in every single city. And I'm gonna just deal with it. I'm honestly gonna deal with it the same way I dealt with New York. The same way I dealt with New York for 25 years, I could deal with here for a couple more years. So do I plan on settling here, as in buying my house here? No, I don't. I'm considering Dallas or Austin, but that's the future. I don't know it yet. I could settle in Georgia, just not Atlanta. So far, I actually really like it over here. So if I was to give it a rating out of 10, I would say 8. So it really depends on your personality and the person that you are and how you were raised. So because I was raised in the city, I'm kind of already used to the city environment, so it doesn't really bother me at all. If you made it through this video, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to me ramble, because I talk a lot. Hopefully I can keep this video under 15 minutes. That's the goal. Stay tuned, stay updated, stay dangerous, and I love y'all. Later.